Tonight on Sports Night in Auburn, we bring you up to speed on the end of men and women's basketball, as well as give you a recap on Auburn football's 2024 Pro Day. Keep watching to see what we've got in store. Sports Night in Auburn starts right now.
Auburn, Alabama, the best atmosphere in all of college sports.
He drives, it's lit.
Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn.
Gone deep to the left.
Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn.
Sideline. Going to the
Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn.
And welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn.
Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn. I'm Faith Richardson.
And I'm Justin Stuckey, and I finally have my co-host back. Faith, we heard you were sick, but we're glad you're back on set today.
I'm back. I'm ready. I'm ready to get this going.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Well, starting off things with men's basketball season has officially come to an end. The Tigers took on Yale in the first round of the NCAA tournament on Friday in Spokane, Washington. With the Tigers in the 4th seed and the Bulldogs in the 13th seed, Auburn was expected to win so much that they were a 13.5 favorite. However, everyone knows that anything can happen in March. And what are some that are considering Auburn's worst loss in program history? Yale beat Auburn 78-76. This was only Yale's second NCAA tournament win in school history, with head coach James Jones stating that Auburn was the best team Yale has ever beaten.
The Tigers started off hot early, getting the 10-2 lead before Chad Baker-Mazara's ejection, with just 3 minutes into the game, completely shifted the team's momentum. Mazara was ejected for a flagrant 2 foul, which Yale took advantage of, going on an 8-0 run to tie the game. Auburn was able to come back, getting a 7-point lead at halftime. However, Yale came in hot and went on a 10-0 run to start the half. The Orange and Blue led by as much as 10 points midway through the second half, but Yale would go on to outscore Auburn 28-16 for the rest of the game. And the ending that could only happen in March. Auburn was within just 1 point with 33.6 seconds left to play. In a back-and-forth free throw battle, Auburn had the opportunity to tie the game with 2 free throws and just 6.1 seconds left on the clock. However, the Tigers missed both free throws, and although Auburn grabbed the rebound, the Tigers could not get a shot in the net, leading Yale to complete the upset. Janai Broome led Auburn with 24 points and 13 rebounds, recording his 14th double-double. But it was Yale's John Polakidis who led all scorers with 28 points. Averaging only 13 points per game, Polakidis secured a career high against Auburn, going 10 of 15 shooting, including 6 of 9 from the three-point line. Here's what head coach Bruce Pearl had to say after the game.
I'd like to congratulate Yale on a great victory. We respected our opponent. We played them a couple years ago, and they played us tough, and we knew exactly what we're, getting ourselves into. We knew we'd have to play well to win. We did not take good care of the ball. We turned it over too much.
Friday's loss against Yale was the last game for fifth-year Jalen Williams as an Auburn Tiger, who leaves the Plains as the winningest player in program history. Seniors Dylan Cardwell, Janai Broome, and Chris Moore have not yet revealed if they'll be back next year. However, senior guard K.D. Johnson announced in an Instagram post today that he will be entering the transfer portal with just 1 year left of eligibility remaining. Johnson spent 3 seasons on the Plains after transferring from Georgia and leaves Auburn with 2 SEC championships.
The ejection of Chad Baker-Mazara had an impact on the outcome of the game. As Auburn's third leading scorer, Mazara was a key figure on the offense and was a role player in Auburn's 10-man lineup. Mazara was given a flagrant 2 foul after making unnecessary contact with Yale's August Mahoney. As they were running up the court, Mazara appeared to have elbowed Mahoney with his right arm. The play went under review, and Mazara was then ejected afterwards. The play caused a lot of controversy as Mazara was live tweeting from the locker room with the game still going on. In addition, Bruce Pearl and Charles Barkley both spoke out that they did not agree with the call, and rather it should have been a flagrant 1. Bruce Pearl spoke out about the ejection, as well as Dylan Cardwell. Let's take another look.
Obviously, the decision to flagrant 2, Chad Baker, that's a pretty tough call. He had got hit about 5 seconds earlier, got tangled up, got a little bit of an elbow. They let it go. Maybe nobody saw it. And about 5 seconds later, Chad hit him. It was inappropriate. Clearly a flagrant 1. The fact that it was elevated to a flagrant 2 is a decision that the official had to make. But it's obviously a tremendous impact on the outcome. Chad is one of our best players. He's one of our very best playmakers.
Are the things that we think are important as important as we think they are? throwing elbows. Is that going to win a championship? No. And so just not letting our things that feel good in the moment, the ones that dictate our future.
Faith, this was an upset nobody saw coming.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't expecting this outcome in the slightest.
Yeah, I had Auburn selected on my bracket. What do you think went wrong for the Tigers?
You know, I think it definitely had something to do with Chad, but I think the turnovers are just something that we were consistently going through. It was just not what we needed.
Yeah, in the last 7 minutes, we had more turnovers than we had field goals, and we didn't make the crunch time free throws. I think you look at one player, you can't blame the entire game on him. Auburn still could have won, but that definitely plays a factor when one of your main scorers isn't on the court, changes the whole dynamic, and Auburn's out, and we just got to look forward to the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, well, moving on. On the women's side, the 11-seed Lady Tigers did not have much better luck than the men. The team traveled to Storrs, Connecticut to take on 11-seed Arizona for the first NCAA 4-game. In their first NCAA tournament appearance since 2019, Auburn could not pull out a win, losing 69-59 to the Wildcats. The Tigers fell behind early with a score of 20-12 and never overcame that deficit the entire game. The team was even down as much as 17 points in the third quarter. Head coach Johnny Harris stated that the 17 turnovers the team committed in the first half alone played a major factor in the loss. Arizona was able to score a total of 23 points from Auburn's 23 turnovers. On a positive note, senior Taylon Collins reached 1,000 career points during this game. This comes after 3 seasons at Oklahoma State and 1 season on the plane for Collins. This game also marked Honesty Scott Grayson's final college game as she led the team with 13 points and finished her career at Auburn with 1,600 career points.
Now, Auburn's women's basketball made a statement. They made the tournament for the first time in a long time. What do you think is the ceiling for the women's team going forward?
I think they're really going to have a good recruit class coming in, and they've been doing really well with that, so I'm excited to see.
Yeah, Johnny Harris has really been putting on a show for the Auburn Tigers so far, and I'm so excited to see what she does in the future.
Yes. Well, when we come back, we have more SEC play for baseball and softball, as well as the 2024 SEC Gymnastics Championship.
But first, it's time for some trivia. How many SEC championships has Auburn Equestrian won? A3, B5, C6, or D8?
Let us know what you think on our social media platforms. You are watching Sports Night in Auburn, and we're going to be right back. Good evening and welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. I'm Faith Richardson.
And I'm Justin Stuckey. If you guessed C6, then you guessed correct. Auburn Equestrian has won 6 SEC championships since the SEC started sponsoring the sport in 2013. The Tigers won in 2016, then have won 5 straight from 2019 to 2023. The team looks to continue this streak this weekend when they travel to College Station, Texas for the 2024 SEC championships. Now, Faith, we love Auburn football, love Auburn basketball, but I'm here to say Auburn is an equestrian school.
I agree. I think we are beyond a lot of other SEC schools in equestrian, and I think we're an equestrian school.
We're them. We're equestrian school.
Well, speaking of equestrian, 3 Tigers earned honors for the month of March. Senior Kate Buchanan was named the NCEA and SEC Reigning Rider of the Month. Buchanan finished her career on the Plains with a 2-0-0 record in reining, getting back-to-back wins against number 3 SMU and number 2 Texas A&M. Also earning SEC honors was freshman Avery Glenn and 5th year Ava Stearns. Glenn received SEC Fences Rider of the Month after going 3-0-0 to cap off the regular season, and Stearns added the honor to her resume for a flat after 2-0-0 finish.
On to baseball, Auburn took on South Alabama in a midweek matchup on Tuesday. The team was able to come out with the dub, 2-1. This win was largely due to Auburn's pitching staff. 4 different pitchers were able to hold South Alabama to just 1 run on 5 hits, with 1 walk and 13 strikeouts.
Next, the Tigers hosted number 1 Arkansas at home, where Auburn had the largest crowd in Plainsman Park history. Eagle Eye's Kegan Miller breaks down the 3-game series for us.
Another week has gone by, and in that week, Auburn hosted its first SEC home games of the season against the number 1 ranked Arkansas Razorbacks. The Tigers look to bounce back after a rough start to SEC play last weekend in Vanderbilt, where they went 0-3. After the season against Arkansas, the Tigers are now 1-5 in SEC play. Now, the SEC is stacked this year, but Auburn would like to get in the mix a little more and put their name at the top of the list in the SEC. The Tigers dropped game 1 against the Razorbacks 1-0 in a good old-fashioned pitcher's duel. Joleigh homered in the top of the first to score the only run of the game, but after the first, the game was quiet on both fronts. The Tigers struck out 8 in the matchup, with starter Carter McBride leading the way with 4 strikeouts. Offensively, the Tigers struck out 17 times. It's hard to win in any game with those kind of numbers. Game 2 was more promising for Auburn, as they led twice in the game. The game looked like it was going to go into extra innings until Ryder Helfrich, Arkansas's catcher, launched a solo home run over the wall in left field. In the top of the 9th, and that gave the Razorbacks the only run they needed, and that was the run necessary to win the game. Auburn's luck did turn around, however, in Game 3, the most packed game at Plainsman Park ever. Really cool to see the Auburn fan base show up after losing the first 2 games. I'm sure Auburn's proud of that. In the game they were losing up until the bottom of the 6th, when Cooper McMurray sent a 3-run home run into the cheap seats. Auburn held on to the lead to win the first SEC game of the year. Auburn's midweek matchup is a home game against Jack State tonight at Plainsman Park before they load up and head to play the number 4 ranked Texas A&M Aggies. Well, that's all I have for y'all this week. Hope y'all enjoy some more college baseball, and I'll see y'all next week.
At the end of the series, head coach Butch Thompson spoke with the media. Let's hear what he had to say about the team's performance and what breaking the record attendance meant to him.
I think I've gotten it, especially I thought the pitching over 4 games, if we can be that consistent. And I know you're going to have some days, but if you can get consistency on the mound, you got a chance to win every time you show up to the ballpark, or regardless who you play. So that's a huge piece. I think our offense was slowed up. I think the biggest reason why we dropped the first 2 games, because, I mean, again, you can't play that game, but that's a series that could have been won with just a little bit more, not moving mountains, a series that we could have swept and got a sweep. But our at-bats were just tough, and because I see so much effort with them running around and doing things, that I just feel like they're just trying so hard they squeeze the juice out of the bat, and they just got to relax and have it bats. And you know, we've had a tough game, but you know, we were 10 games over 500 heading into Vanderbilt and had won a lot of games and really hadn't played a lot of close games. Maybe that Virginia game down at Jacksonville. So we better have learned something this week from playing close, tight games and adjustments that we need to make to start, you know, not being behind on those, hopefully, and getting our share of those games. So this week needs to go a long way for us to grow, and that's why I just stopped short of the result thing. Of course, we have to win, but these guys got to figure out what they can take from this week and apply, and keep giving us that good effort. And the league will drag it out of you, but we were ready to play today. And even when we got down, you know, you knew you were going to have to play offense today, but you know, they at least got to the point where they hooked it up and had a good look in their eye. For you just come back out the next day being 0-2 down in a series at home and have more fans than you've ever had in the park's history show up is pretty moving. So I appreciate you bringing that up, and for me personally, that's a big deal.
The team is currently hosting Jacksonville State and will travel to College Station next to play number 4 Texas A&M.
Number 25 women's softball started off the week on a high, defeating Troy on Tuesday in extra innings 4-3. It was back and forth all game, but Auburn was able to come away with the victory win in the 10th inning when Isis Tresvik raced home after an error throw from Troy. The Orange and Blue then traveled to Texas A&M to take on the number 12 Aggies for a 3-game series on Friday. The Tigers, however, could not grasp a win, leading Texas A&M to sweep Auburn by winning all 3 games. Next, Auburn will host number 7 Tennessee at Jane B. Moore Field for a 3-game series from Friday to Sunday, with Saturday's game set to honor senior Michaela Packer. Mickey Dean will step down as head coach for the softball team and transition into a special assistant to the athletic director at the end of the season.
Auburn Gymnastics competed in the 2024 SEC Championships in New Orleans, where they were the 7th seed. The team finished in 7th place with a score of 196.775. LSU claimed the title, finishing in first with a score of 198.75. Alabama placed second, followed by Kentucky, Florida, Missouri, and Arkansas. The Georgia Bulldogs landed in last place after Auburn. The Lady Tigers then waited for the NCAA selection show on Monday to see if they made the NCAA postseason, which they did. Auburn earned the 4th seed and will travel for the 2nd year in a row to California. The team will compete on Friday, April 5th in the night session against host and number 1 seed Cal, Stanford, and the winner of the Southern Utah and San Jose State play-in. The top 2 teams from the day and night sessions will advance to the regional final on Sunday, April the 7th.
Switching to swim and dive, the NCAA championships in Athens, Georgia wrapped up for the women on Saturday. The number 16 women earned a top 20 finish, getting 19th place with 54 total points. This was Auburn's highest finish since 2019. Virginia took home their 4th consecutive title with 527.5 points. In addition, 8 Auburn athletes garnered 18 All-American honors. Here's a rundown of all of those that were honored. With the women's season complete, the men will finish up their season in Indianapolis starting Wednesday and will have a total of 11 participants.
Up next on Sports Night in Auburn, we will update you on Auburn football's Pro Day, and we have a draft evaluation of Marcus Harris.
But before we go, here's some Auburn football trivia. Which team did Auburn defeat to win the football national championship in 2010? A, Oregon, B, Oklahoma State, C, LSU, or D, Florida?
Tweet us at EETV_sports or check out our Instagram stories at EagleEyeTV_sports to submit your answer. And we're going to see you guys right after the break. What's up, y'all? You're watching Sports Night in Auburn. I'm Justin Stuckey.
And I'm Faith Richardson. The correct answer to the trivia question is A, Oregon. The Tigers won Auburn's 2nd national title with a final score of 22-19 after an undefeated regular season. The team was led by Heisman Trophy winner and Auburn legend Cam Newton.
That man has a statue right outside of the studio.
Part of the Holy Trinity.
Yep, he was a pros pro. 2015 NFL MVP, Heisman winner like you just said, but he was that guy.
Well, speaking of pro, Auburn football hosted its Pro Day last Friday with 17 players working out for NFL scouts from every single team except for the Buffalo Bills. That's a shame. Here are some of the former Tigers that showcased their skills.
James, Nehemiah Pritchett, and Jalen Simpson, who all showed their skills after being invited to the NFL Combine just a few weeks ago, while safety Zion Puckett got to practice in front of scouts after not receiving an invite to the Combine. Puckett has something to prove as he ran the fastest 40-yard dash out of any Auburn player that chose to run with the 4.50, marking him the 8th best among Combine safeties. His vertical 37.48, which also marked him 9th best among Combine safeties. Simpson went on to try the vertical jump again after setting a goal of reaching 40 inches, which he successfully achieved. Marcus Harris also wanted to improve after the Combine with his bench reps, where he was able to reach 34 total reps. Let's hear what some of these guys had to say after Pro Day.
Man, I bleed orange and blue, so it's just like to do this one last time, it's sad, man. It's heartbreaking, but you know what we try to do is pass what we knew and what we learned while we were here onto the other guys that's gonna be playing next season and seasons after that. So we'll just live through them while they play this next season. So just looking forward to it, man. It's been a long time, long journey, but blessed and wasn't traded from that, for real.
Man, just a great experience overall, having our former teammates out here watching us, parents and family as well. Just great to perform in front of them, and perform in front of the scouts as well. Just blessed for the opportunity to be out here with me and my teammates and showcasing ourselves. Real blessed.
Pro Day was good. I mean, just coming back here, being in front of the Auburn family. I mean, some of your coaches, your players, old teammates. I mean, it was just a blessing to get back here and do it in front of the people. So,
man, it was very exciting, man, getting back to Auburn. Been gone for 12 weeks. Been training in Austin, Texas. Just mainly focusing on myself and my body and getting myself together for those 3 months. It was a great experience coming back from Pro Day. Like Micah said, coming back, seeing the fam and Auburn, players that you play with, having this camaraderie again with the DB, and just being able to go out there one more time and do everything as a collective group. You know, I always cherish that, and I always cherish Auburn family.
I feel great. You know, this is the last step we got. Went through the NFL Combine, went through the Senior Bowl. Just finished here with my teammates. I ain't seen them in a couple months. It's just been amazing. You know, I ain't see those guys in a while. It's just coming back, connecting with those guys and working out one last time. It's been amazing.
Yeah, I feel amazing. It's a nice cap to a fun college career. I feel, you know, glad and happy to be able to represent not only my family but Auburn University. I feel like I had a good day out here today, and just being able to showcase my skills and things I can do out in front of NFL scouts.
Yeah, it was good, man. Getting to come out here and compete with my teammates one more time, put on the Auburn logo for the last time, man. It was good. got some good work in, got to show the scouts what we're talking about, so it was fun.
With the NFL draft in Detroit coming up on April 25th, we have another draft evaluation from Micah Farmer. Let's check out what he has to say on the draft stock of defensive lineman Marcus Harris.
Thanks, guys, and welcome back to weekly Auburn draft evals, where this week we've got Marcus Harris, finally moving out of the secondary. I know, crazy. But Marcus Harris is an interior defensive lineman for Auburn who has a lot of strengths, the first of which being his initial power. This is a guy who's going to get off the ball quickly, really shove his hands up into an offensive lineman, has really, really good power. Then his strong frame kind of goes hand in hand with that. This isn't a guy who's just big, but can't really move like it or doesn't really know how to apply that size. Harris is very good at getting in the face of the guys he's matched up against, and the power isn't just built into his technique, it's built into his actual frame, which it shows it's something that's going to be harder for him to lose when it goes to the next level. It's going to stick with him a bit more. Then his alignment flexibility. He plays interior defensive line, but he's also done snaps at 5 tech, at 3 tech. He's really been able to be moved back and forth with his time. Then his lateral movement. This is a guy who isn't just on a runway straight ahead and he can't do anything else. He can move very well side to side, and it's really noticeable against the run, which is very impressive for a guy of his size. There are weaknesses, though, starting with double teams. He will get frequently completely erased by double team. He's a non-factor when that happens. He has short arms as well, which is part of the reason he gets erased like this. He doesn't really have a great reach outside of his frame. Within his frame, he's very powerful. Like I said earlier, will knock guys off the ball, but outside of his frame with that short arm length, it's really hard for him to get extra leverage or do anything, which is going to be a big detriment to him at the next level, in my opinion. And then his counter moves are also not great. He has a great initial move, great initial power, but if that doesn't work, he doesn't really have a plan past that. And then some would say he's even playing out of position at interior defensive line over the ball sometimes, and in that 3 tech role. A lot of NFL scouts like this guy better as a 5 tech, which is interesting because that's something he didn't really play much of at Auburn. So you might see him get drafted and called out on draft day as a defensive end despite playing interior defensive line his entire time at Auburn. As far as projection, I think he's going to be a day 3 pick for sure. I don't think there's enough upside here to warrant a day 1 or 2 selection for Harris. I think he's going to be a serviceable rotational player, maybe look at a guy who's brought in on passing downs to really add extra juice up front. If he can work on some counter moves and work on playing with more power outside his frame, I definitely think he could find his way into a starting role eventually.
Spring soccer continues here in Auburn with the Lady Tigers beating the Ole Miss Rebels 2-1 on Saturday. The 2 goals were scored by senior Haley Duca and junior Shelby Salee. They will take a short break before returning for more spring ball to take on Georgia on Sunday, April the 14th.
Number 2 men's golf finished out play at Seahawk Intercollegiate in Wilmington, North Carolina yesterday, where they earned their 3rd consecutive tournament title. The win is the team's 6th on the season, setting a new program record. It also marked head coach Nick Clinard's 50th win up on the Plains. Up next week, they will get a short break before returning to the Green on April 15th for the regular season finale at Mossy Oak Collegiate in West Point, Mississippi.
Moving over to tennis, the number 18 women's team had big SEC wins this weekend, beating Ole Miss 5-2 on Friday and Mississippi State 4-0 on Sunday. The Orange and Blue will continue to host SEC matchups this weekend, playing 2 ranked teams for the final home matchups of the season. They will challenge number 22 Tennessee on Friday and number 8 Georgia on Sunday. Sunday's match will also honor all of our Auburn seniors.
Unlike the women, number 21 men's tennis was unable to capture wins this weekend, falling to Vanderbilt in a close match 4-3 and number 5 Kentucky 4-0. Auburn will look to bounce back this Sunday as they have just 1 match hosting Arkansas on Sunday.
Finally, track and field traveled to Tallahassee, Florida for the FSU relays on Thursday. The Tigers continued their strong start to the outdoor season, bringing home gold medals in 8 different events and silver in 10. Here are all the Tigers who brought home gold or silver back to the Plains. Among the winners is junior Micah, who finished in 1st place for the men's 200 with a time of 20:23. His time is currently number 1 in the SEC. Up next, they will go back to Florida this weekend for the Florida relays in the Swamp.
Before we sign off, here's a look at all the upcoming events for the Auburn Tigers this weekend.
Faith, what are we pulling up to?
Let's go to the softball games this weekend.
They've been doing good. We're gonna check out softball. If all of you fans watching want to get autographs from me and Faith, make sure y'all pull up. But But anyway, that's a wrap on tonight's show. Be sure to follow our Instagram at EagleEyeTV_sports and our X at EETV_sports. I'm Justin Stuckey.
And I'm Faith Richardson. Good night and War Eagle.